So today I'd like to share one of my favorite modules that REDCap provides. And this is the instance table module. I've used this personally and I advocate it to folks who have databases that contain repeat form instruments. This external module provides all those instances in a table format. So you just go ahead and enable your instance table. The configuration is very minor. Either admin see it, non-admin see it or not. The documentation, I do want to point out, if I'm not mistaken, this is documentation for version 1.3.4, I think it is. But I've also included in our PDFs the actual instance table, our actual action tags, and that's going to provide. So we've enabled our instance table. Now we're going to come back over here. So we notice that we have events, we have surveys, we have data entry, we have our tables. So let's go over here to our designer. And how do you create an instance table? And you create your new form, and all your instance table is a descriptive text field. You'll name your table, and then here in your action tags, once the instance table has been enabled, you'll notice that we receive all these additional action tags to be able to customize that particular table to show what you want to see from the repeat form, the instances, each individual repeat form. Really do want to point out, as far as when you write, be very careful. They're showing us exactly how we want to write these instance tables with your quotation marks, your brackets, and for instance, with concerning installing the instance table. Now, this is a longitudinal database. So notice it's going to be event underscore name colon, and then the name of the form, no quotes. So I've already installed these, wanting to show. So this is the actual instance table, and it's going with the medications form. We've installed the additional button labels so that instead of add a new, I can customize it to say add a new medication. I've also applied a filter so that my table is only going to show those instances that are complete. And this is where I really want to emphasize your quotes and your brackets. Notice we have a quote here, quote, our value is within double quotes. When we're just adding our customized label, those are single quotes. And when you're identifying the specific form that this table is going to be attached to, there are no quotes. And of course, the event, because this is longitudinal. So with that, we save. And this is the table. Notice I have already created tables for the family, the visits, and the adverse events. So let's go back over here and take a look. Anyone who has worked with repeat forms, when you don't have the table, this is what you get. And sometimes it's really difficult because you have to open up each and every instance to be able to get into it. When you have the table is going to provide you a table format of all of your instances, what they look like. From here, within the table, you can add a new medication. You can go back and you can look at a specific instance, double check it, make sure everything's right. You can also come in and you can change. Well, excuse me. Can't change it there. I apologize. We're going to do, notice now that all of these are, I've shown 5 instances on my repeat form. So I want to create a new one. I'm going to work through my table. Now my table, I'm going to say yes, but it's incomplete. Now notice what happens when I do a save and stay. It's not going to show on your table because this has been filtered that it only shows complete. Let's do a refresh. And we'll notice here that we have 6 instances. So we're going to come back over here and we're going to go open up 6. I have the drone ontology. Let's see if I can get something pulled up quick. I have no idea what these are. And we're going to identify it as complete. You can do a save and exit form. Now when we go to our medication table, all 6 will show. You're customized to add a new medication instead of add new. You can also create you can create your tables so that they are also surveys. Being able to open it up as a survey. But notice we cannot add a table. You can only view it in the survey form. We want to add a table. And again, reminding everybody with REDCap's new icons, which is wonderful. This is telling us that this form is a repeat form. This is identifying as an auto continue. And this is telling us that this is a repeat survey. Just a little reminder on how do you enable a repeat survey. It's right down here just below auto continue. And you select that. You can do a customized button for add another medication. And I want mine to show after the survey has been completed. Apologize, I was on the wrong one. I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna do a quick save and stay. So I can get mine. Survey opened up. Yes, we have another medication. You just want some aspirin. See what it comes up with. Close our table. We can add another medication right here. We're going to say yes. We're going to close our table. And you can keep on adding how many medications the respondent can online. Or again, you can work through your data entry. So we're going to close our survey, stay on our page, then do a refresh. Now we're going to come over here to our medication table. And notice now all of those came in. We're missing something here, even though it was marked as complete. So I want to know why. Why is that a complete form, but I'm missing my dosage? So it allows me to come in, edit my response, and I can copy or enter my dosage as required. Save and stay will automatically update the table. One of the areas that I have found very beneficial with sharing, especially when we have a situation when you have an instrument. Adverse events is a good example. You have so much to go through, but maybe you don't want to see all of this on that table. So you only want to see the pertinent things you're looking for your table. So you can actually go in and add the action tag. Hide this field. Now this is what's hidden on the repeat form, on that repeat instrument, not on the table. When you go to your table, for instance, with our adverse events, we know that we have some unverified adverse events. So, but I've condensed it down to say, well, I only want to see specific things on my adverse event. Is the adverse event still ongoing? No. We're fatal, a severe, moderate, recovering. But right here it's still showing as it's an invalid. Why? Because it was identified as a severe event. When that severe event, or is the adverse event serious? When we say yes, it opens up all of these additional areas that must be completed. So now they can go back and they can complete that. And at that point in time, once these are completed, then whoever, whether it be your project manager, your coordinators, but also too, as pointed out by Carol, this would be very efficient for clinicians, your registered nurses, your physician's attendants, and your doctors, if they wanted to see something specifically for what they were looking for from that repeat form that they've sent out. I just have found it a very useful tool. There is much within it. I totally recommend that everybody who has a repeat form and wants to, condense the instances down to a tabulated environment, please enable this instance table. It'll provide you with an easier view and just be able to control it a little bit more. I wanted to open this one up and again share, even though the PDF that I provided this is something that you feel that is that would work in one of your projects, please note all of the different specific action tags that can be used to customize that specific table. And they're lengthy. I have not been able to check them all out. One of the things that I wanted to look at was, could I create a table that would pull from different instruments? And so far, I'm finding that I can't do that. I would have to create another instrument that would pull those specific variables and then create a table. That's my understanding of it, but I'm still working on that to see if that does work. So you can pull data from multiple instruments into one table. Is there any questions?
I just had one comment. If I missed this, I apologize, but you didn't demo how to. So if you're collecting meds from a participant, you didn't show how you can have the participant update that list, did you?
No, sir. And would you repeat that? Because I'm not sure if I understand.
Can I jump in real quick? Because I think I had the same question, Terry. So the setup for this would be like if I was checking in with participants like every other day to see what their medication dosages were, I could set up a survey, like a repeating form survey that gets sent to them every day, and via that survey they could up the medication table would be updated whenever they completed that survey.
Yes,
Is that what you were trying to
for
get at,
that,
Terry?
for that,
No, no,
that, I'm sorry.
no. So stop right there, Tanya. So this is an instance table right here, showing the meds that they're on. And there is an add new med there. If the user had this access to this instrument and they were, this was shared with them, share and return later or whatever, you didn't show how they could add a med on their own, did you?
Not to the table,
Huh, right. I
not
just,
to the table.
I just
Uh,
wanted to make sure.
yeah, because the table, and I did check that one. The table, when it can be activated as a survey, but it's strictly for viewing only.
So it would be useful if we could do a demo on how you can open this as a survey with an add new button. It requires HTML and a descriptive text field, but it'd be interesting to see if you could set something up like that. And then as long as there's an add new, or they can edit a med themselves, I think that would be really helpful. I'm not sure if the project wanted to allow it. I just, because like before an appointment, I always get something that asks me to walk through these uh, forms and check. One of the things is check, do I have any new meds, or is this the same? Or, have I stopped using something? Then, if you had something like this and you could make an edit to the table, then it would be nice to be able to, if there was just a box to check that says, no, I'm not, this is no longer, I'm no longer on this medication or whatever. It'd be something to play with. If somebody else doesn't do it, eventually I'll probably do it because I think it would be cool. But since you did it, I thought you might want to explore it a little further.
Yes, thank you, because it does talk about being able to write this specific HTML, having
Right.
to do with survey mode for the table itself. And no, sir, I did not get that far.
I'd just be interested to see if there's any
Yes,
limitations.
okay, that's it, it's on the list.
Sweet, thanks.